Hi, this is Chris Olkowski, and I'm going to be discussing 5 steps to help people with eating disorders. Okay, just going to go right into it. Um, Eating disorders are mostly rooted in self-hatred. Okay, so a lot of times when you're faced with hurt and pain, there's multiple different ways to cope. Okay, healthy ways of coping would be to negate what the person's saying, not listening to them, or not validating what they're saying, just saying that I don't believe you, and to move on from there and to move towards people that are more loving to you, or to talk to them about it and say that I'm hurt, and then they respond by saying, "Oh, I love you" in it. Um, those are the good scenarios. Sometimes, though, you don't have love, you don't have support in the midst of that. That's what God is supposed to do. That's what God desired to do, is to love on us and support us and give us peace and to show us how much special you are. Okay? And he wanted to do that. However, a lot of times God isn't in the picture, and that's when different disorders come about. Okay? In this case, uh, in eating disorders and a lot of different ones that is when a person takes those pains and hurts and they attack themselves. They agree with the person, basically. The way to cope is that, well, it must be true, or it must be because I am not a good person. Okay, they take on the pain, hurt, as it's their fault, and they don't fight against it. I talked about anger. That's the person who controls the other person when they're hurt. This is the inward way of dealing with hurt and pain and trying to cope and say, well, why am I feeling hurt? I'm not feeling loved in it afterwards. I'm not feeling supported in it. So there must be something wrong with me. That's what happens. And so along with trying to cope and saying I'm the problem, instead of getting in deep depression, a way to control yourself and to try to find out a way that you can feel better about yourself is you start thinking about looking at your image and something you can control. And so a lot of times in your eating disorders, that's probably one of the easiest ways to control your world is by controlling your eating. Okay. A lot of times it starts, I think a lot of times people desire to do anorexia when it comes to eating disorders. However, a lot of us can't do that because we enjoy food so much. But anorexia is more strong. This is probably the strongest of all those eating disorders in terms of the most severe because they are willing to not eat as a control mechanism to allow themselves to have pain subsided by looking at by having other pain involved, something they can control. And they warp their thinking into thinking that the whole problem is the way I look. It has nothing to do with my behavior or what I've done or anything else. It's about my weight. So when people hurt you, they think, well, it's because of my weight. Okay, now there might be other things involved and they are hurt, and they realize, the person might, say you're ugly or whatever. Well, or they might just say, that why you do things so wrong? Why you, or, why you, in it, a lot of times the people start switching over to when they start seeing they're thin, say, why do you keep not eating? You should be eating, you should be eating. Well, then they take that and they see they don't understand. It's because of the fact that I'm too fat or whatever, and they twist the negativity and the pain they're feeling because people are still being negative to them, and they say they don't understand. I need to do this because I'm too fat or my image is wrong. See, everything gets twisted to this control mechanism. We all have that in some way or another where we try to make our world fit in our own mind and we manipulate what we hear, we manipulate how we're hurt into a way that we can function, we can cope. And in eating disorders, it's by not eating, okay, and in anorexia. And that's, like I said, the most severe only because of the fact that they are actually able to not eat. And it causes them to be in full control and they're really hunkered down into not eating. And and it can cause them more weakness and cause them to be frail and very unhealthy. But that having that weakness is actually another good feeling in their body because it causes them to feel less, to feel weaker. And when you feel weaker, you don't have the strength to do stuff. So that helps you to cope because when you're tired all the time, or you're weak, your mind isn't as strong, your feelings aren't as strong, and so it's actually subsides that. It's a very downward spiral when it comes to anorexia. So it's a very strong coping mechanism when that's negative, and that's why it's sometimes it can be more challenging because of that very reason. With bulimia, when a person's eating, it can be pretty severe too because it can cause a lot of electrolyte problems and a lot of problems with because vomiting can cause acid to get in your esophagus and eat at your esophagus. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So it's more physical. That's it, sometimes the issues, but it's still severe because the person really has a hard time with their body image and it's a way of their control. And then lastly, with eating disorders, if a person isn't able to be thin, sometimes they just end up just eating. They don't throw it up or nothing. And that's the whole outer perspective of eating disorder is they just keep eating and eating and eating and they can't stop. It's a way to control their world because of the fact that everybody thinks they're negative, so then they turn to eating. And all these is all based on self-hatred because they don't feel good about themselves and they actually hate themselves the way they are. And then when your person is eating too much, they keep eating and it just reinforces that of that everybody hates me anyways. So I might as well just keep eating. And it makes them feel like they're in control because it's almost a rebellious kind of thing for them because of the fact that, well, I'm fat. I'm fat anyways, or I shouldn't eat this anyway, so I'm just going to keep eating it. And I mean, a person doesn't necessarily have to be overweight to do this because of the fact that this is just that they keep eating sugar, and they just start feeling, they just feel as a control thing. And other people are saying we should have vegetables and fruit, and they just eat what they want to eat because it's their control issue, and they know it's not good for them, but they keep doing it because it's a control issue. Again, it's reinforced with the fact when people get negative on them, then they say, well, you don't understand. This is something that helps me. You should understand. And it's not. Second step for this one, for all eating disorders, is ask God to forgive you of self-hatred. Now, why this is important? Because it sidesteps the whole eating thing. For a while, it's important to not focus on the eating part and start focusing on the root first. And that is started by looking at the self-hatred and saying, so some people don't even realize they are self-hatred. They just think, I'm fine. If you're a Christian, if you're listening to this video and you're a Christian, or you desire to get out of this and want to be Christian, and you're just starting to get into Christian walk and stuff, and you're hearing this, the best way to do this is to just trust God in this and trust what He's trying to say, because obviously these disorders aren't good, okay? And so start with just asking God, please forgive me of my self-hatred. Even if you're not sure, you can maybe even ask God, help me forgive myself, because I don't even know what that means. Start reaching out to God, please help me in my self-hatred, because I don't even know, I can't even see it. And then He's going to start showing you. Just start thinking about, good way to even start looking at that is by saying, doing the next step first maybe, is that start asking God to show you how special you are. It's not easy. See, sometimes this maybe the third step for some people, some of the eating disorders is the second step because for them to even forgive themselves, first they even have to see that these are self hatred. But I can tell you that most people, if not all people, will have a real hard time with this one, asking God to show them how special they are, because they don't feel special. Okay, they may say it sometimes. I feel special. It's not true. Not really true. Because if they start looking to God and say, God, you show me how special I am, they might verbally, but if you're honest with yourselves, you will know that you don't think you're as special as God thinks you're special. Because you are very special. You are more special than me. And when I say that, not in a sense that that you are higher than I am or anything like that. What I'm saying is that there is parts of you that I am not able to do or accomplish. There is purposes that you're going to accomplish in your life that God wants you to accomplish that I could never do. And that's not just because of the fact that you're in a different place and everything like that. It's because you have special abilities. You have special personalities. You have special mechanisms inside of you, a bit, things that are giftings that I do not have, that nobody has. You are an individual that is special, that God has to use you. Okay? You are put in a family, in a community, in a state, in a wherever you're at for a purpose. There's a reason why you are at where you're at, okay? The things you went through was to make you get to a certain position where now you can live for God, okay? Originally, it was never meant to be this way. You were never supposed to be hurt. And that leads me to step 4, is that ask God to show you times when you were hurt deeply. Okay, so I'm running through these kind of fast, but I'll go back to them. Is that what happens is you were hurt in your past. I don't care, young, teenager, or somewhere young, 8, 3, 4. Some things you don't even remember. But ask God to reveal to you where He wants to possibly heal you. And ask Him to show you times when you were hurt. Because the 5th step is let God love you and heal you in those hurts. Okay? So you're going to have to start this by looking at these times. Sometimes like I said, some of these you're going to have to just start going to the 4th step right away even. Because these issues are so removed from the pain and the hurt that sometimes you have to sidestep the pain and hurt and just go right into the hurt. Okay? Sidestep some of the symptoms and go right into where the root is. Once you start seeing some of the times you were hurt in your past, that's when you start realizing, whoa, oh my gosh, I can't even think about the times that I was hurt when I was a kid. Okay, now you can start seeing how that you're how God how God can show you're special, because you're not feeling very special when you're hurt when you're a little kid. When those things happen to you, you didn't feel very special. Nope. And what happened to you? You didn't you probably hated those people at the time for doing that stuff, but what did you do? Did you feel very good, or did you feel very unspecial? Sometimes we're working backwards here. You start seeing those times when you were hurt and painful, and you felt very hurt and betrayed by somebody. Maybe your parents said something. Maybe your friends. Maybe your siblings. Maybe a teacher. Who knows? And those wounds started getting deeper when other people would agree with them or would say other things and say, "Oh, you're this, you're that," ugh. And it hurt so bad. It's like you could never measure up. It hurt. Just focus on that. Focus on the pain there. You didn't feel very special. You felt like you should be. They were wrong. But then you started wondering, maybe they were right. Maybe you aren't very special. Maybe you are very a bad person. Maybe you're a misfit. Maybe you're a nothing. Maybe you're worse than dirt. You start believing that stuff, and then you think, well, what am I going to do with this? What's the problem? And then at some point in your life, you switched and said, it must be my weight. It must be the way I look. Okay? I mean, maybe it started with that. Maybe people picked on you and, oh, look at you. Oh, you look like a retard. Blah, blah, blah. And then you turned and said, they're right. I look terrible. And so all the hurts and pains focused on your body image and the way you looked. But the main thing is it's because you're not thinking you're very special, and you are. You are special. So what do? If you're special and now you don't think you are because of all the pain and hurt that you did, all the people that told you weren't very special and you looked ugly or you did things wrong. Right there. Step 2, ask God to forgive you of self-hatred. Forgive, God, help me. Forgive me that I believed all these people. And you think, well, I didn't know any better. Yeah, you didn't. You didn't. But you start by asking forgiveness. Like, forgive me, God. I believed all these people. So what am I supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Let go of believing them. Say, forgive me. I shouldn't have believed them. I shouldn't have believed them. You shouldn't have. But you did. And that's, don't look at it if it's your fault or not. It's like, start saying that it was wrong. They're wrong, and you were wrong in believing it. Okay? It's not true. You are special. Okay? Start asking God to help you to forgive yourself and to let go of all those people's lies, and start asking God to show you how special you are now. Start it as you were starting to remember all these times where you were hurt deeply and you were told, that you were no good and that you're a failure or whatever it was, or you look like a toad, or you look like like anything. You just look like a nothing. And they just rammed it in further and further and further that you were going to amount to nothing. A teacher could say that. He says, you're going to amount to nothing. You're such a stupid kid. Or your teacher, or your family member, or maybe it was a relative. And that hurt badly. It was wrong of them. Jesus wanted to tell you they were wrong at that time. When you were a little kid, when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they said those things to you, Jesus was saying, that's wrong. And he was trying to tell you when you were that age. No, they're wrong. You're special. I really love you. I really care about you. You're so beautiful and special. I made you the way you are so you can be with me. He made all of us so you can be with them, and so he can love on you, and so he can help you can be part of his plan. He wants you to be part of his plan. Okay? It's true. It's real. It's in the Bible. And other people have felt the same way you did. Moses, the one who parted the Red Sea, he thought he was a failure. Everybody picked on him. Everybody said he was a nothing, and he ran away because he was a failure. He thought he was special, and he wasn't. That's what he thought. He thought he was a nothing. He thought he was so much of a nothing that when God came to him in a burning bush and said, I want you to free the slave, free my people. He said, I can't do it. I can't do it. He didn't think it was special. Moses? Come on, Moses. One of the greatest people ever. Moses thought he wasn't special. Yeah, he didn't think he was very special. Mm-hmm. And he had a burning bush with him, and God was talking to him, and he still didn't think he was very special. If you thought God came to you in a burning bush, you think he'd be pretty special? I think I'd be pretty. I'm like, okay, I must be pretty special if there's a burning bush here. Okay? So I'm telling you that you are very special. Okay? God wants to touch you and really be with you if you let him. Okay? Just just ask him for help in it. Ask him for help to start showing you times of deep hurt and when you didn't feel special and help him. Just realize that he wanted to be there for you. He wants to be there for you now. He wants to say to you, I've always thought you were special. I've always thought you were great. I've always wanted you to be with you. I've always wanted to come alongside you and start helping you and telling you how much you're loved and how much um, I want to care for you and take care of you. And he wanted to show you the way what to do and to accomplish things and start feeling good about things and feeling good about him, God, feeling good about Jesus. He wanted to have a relationship with you, talk with you, and he wanted you to accomplish things and just say how great it was and thank God for all the things that he's helped you with. He wanted all that, and he wants that now. He wants to start having you change your life to a point where you're going to be so full of joy, full of peace, so full of love that you won't even know what to do with it. It'll be so great. Now, yeah, you're gonna still feel hurt. You can still feel hurt. I'm sorry. That's the way it's gonna be. It's gonna still be. You're gonna still feel hurt. But you know what? The reason why we get hurt is because God can then come and comfort us. Because how can you be a comforter if there's nothing to comfort? Okay? He wants us to realize that we need him. In the beginning of Garden Eden, they never were hurt. And what happened? They thought they could do without God. See, when we don't have the need, we don't see the need, we think maybe we don't need God. So now he has to create. He allowed them to have the of the tree of good and evil, and it created this super need. Now, oh my gosh! I'm like, now we don't even have God. Now we're having all this guilt and all these problems. God, help us. And then he says, well, where are you? He says, well, we're right here. And what happened? We ate of the tree of good and evil. We ate of the fruit that we're not supposed to. Okay, that's just like bulimia, just like other eating disorders. You ate something you're not supposed to. What's the answer? Let God heal you. Let God in, because you feel guilty. You feel wrong. You feel like you're stupid. Like you're very guilty. And then some of the anorexic people, oh, you see, you shouldn't have ate that. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, if you don't eat the tree of life, which was the other tree, and all the other trees, you're gonna die without God, because God wanted everybody to eat of Him, of all that He supplied. Jesus said, "Eat of me, drink of me. I am the living water." Why is he the living water? Because he is full of love. He is full of spiritual sustenance, and he gives you emotional peace and all the things that we need to survive. He can even give you friendships that are so godly that it's going to give you true support. That you won't have to have all these people that are so negative, but he's going to direct you. Again, now he's not going to have you. He doesn't necessarily say that you're not going to be hurt. But again, when you're hurt, what's the answer? The answer is you go to God, and God will support you, and it'll feel so good. When you're hurt, God will love you and hold you, because it even says in the Bible, it says He upholds you with His righteous right hand. He will touch you in a way that you're like, oh, that's so good. God does love me. But you gotta let him give you a chance. It's kind of scary, because people, who are you gonna trust? It kind of reminds me of, you could kind of do a phrase: who are you gonna trust? God, God Buster. He's the buster, all right. He busts up all the mess that we and all the sin in our lives and all the lies that Satan has told us and other people have told us. He busts that up. So rely on God because He's the lie buster, and He wants to love you. And just do these sort of steps. Realize that it's self hatred that you're under, and ask God to forgive you that you had self hatred. Start asking God to show you how special you are by asking God to show you times when you were hurt. You hurt deeply when you're younger, and then let God love you and heal you of those hurts. Okay, God bless.